Hello, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking, and today I'm going to title my video, Did a Fleet of UFOs Get Shot Out of the Sky in New Mexico? Okay, so the year was 1947. The month was July, and our government was using a new mobile device similar to radar to disrupt the UFO navigation system. There was a total of 5 UFOs shot down during the first half of July 1947. This information comes from a man named Chuck Wade, a great gentleman. I had him personally on at my UFO forum in Albuquerque, New Mexico, twice during an 8-year period. Okay, so Chuck had studied over 40 years in the Corona, Roswell area. He is a native of New Mexico, and he was raised in the Corona area of New Mexico. And he presently lives, I believe, or did live for sure, in Gallup, New Mexico. And Chuck, in 2004, started a film festival there, a UFO film festival. Um, and it would not only had films, but also brought in speakers from all over the South West. Normally, it was held in October. It was sort of, I guess I'll call it a mini uh, Roswell festival, Roswell, New Mexico festival. I'm not sure of his present status or the festivals. I'm hoping he is still alive and kicking because he was quite a force. I always remember during his presentations at my forum in Albuquerque. So Chuck is a good-hearted guy. He had a great deal of passion for UFO crashes, especially in New Mexico. Chuck had a science degree from New Mexico State University and was in the military for over 30 years. Chuck has some direct witness testimony of these UFO crashes. Okay. And Chuck has material evidence, although it seems it's a bit controversial. Okay. I believe with further independent, I always told him, with further independent scientific analysis, this evidence would prove to be solid proof of the existence of UFO crashes in New Mexico. Okay, these are bits and pieces of the craft. It just all kinds of really interesting stuff. I mean, some of it you really couldn't tell, but Chuck is pretty much convinced these came from UFOs. Okay, and maybe, just maybe, the proof that the U.S. military brought these craft down, killing most of its occupants. Okay, I said most of the occupants, because there are rumors, speculation that 3 or 4 of these beings survived the crashes, but all finally died in 1953. And I've gotten that from several different sources, not just Chuck. Okay, this was other research I had done and people that came to the forum, the UFO forum in Albuquerque. So now the question is, does Chuck have the smoking gun to prove to the world that these crashes were a reality here in New Mexico? So the story was Chuck, over this, 40 years, probably closer to 50 years now, traveled around and looked and talked to just unbelievable amount of people. Took a lot of pictures. I saw a lot of the pictures that he presented. He showed evidence to me, showed it to our group. It was some pretty amazing stuff. But here's one of the problems that Chuck was running into even back then. Now we're going back a few years when he was at the UFO Forum. Was that most of the witnesses, just like the witnesses that in the Roswell crash, most of them are getting quite old. Many of them were in their upper 80s. Uh, and some of them were in the 90s, and even a few at this point would be in 100 if they're still alive. That is the problem with all the crashes, at least the ones that happen in Mexico, is that a lot of the witnesses are either don't want to get involved anymore, or they're just getting too old, their memories are shot, basically, um, or they're dying. They're dying of something. They're just dying. So that's the sad thing, and that's why it's really important. It was really important, like a guy like Chuck, to go out there and to do this type of research because basically time was running out. Uh, Time is running out, actually. Um, and again, the other some of the other reasons people have moved away from the area. A lot of people have moved out into Mexico, and so they don't want to, it's hard to find them ones that are even in New Mexico, let alone that have moved away. So I feel just like Chuck that there is some more evidence out there in the vast, semi-arid, semi-wasteland called southern New Mexico. And one of the great things, I guess, because it is semi-dry, semi-arid, is that a lot of things don't decompose. And basically, there isn't a lot of people in that part of New Mexico, and there's really not a lot of people in New Mexico, period, to mess it up. So it's very possible, Chuck had speculated that there could very well be a full craft or a partial craft that could be even wedged in a crevice of a mountain somewheres, which is really a pretty dang cool thought if you think about it. So anyways, so Chuck, this is to Chuck now. I'm speaking to Chuck. You're gonna listen, but I'm gonna speak to Chuck. I hope you find your UFO mother lode. You deserve it since you spent probably 50 or even more years uh, of your personal time researching every possible lead. And Chuck, if you're still out there, as you well know, you have your critics. We all do, but you have persevered and have courageously kept moving forward. Your time is near. Don't stop now. And thanks for sharing your time and evidence, for there are no secrets worth keeping, as they say. So, anyways, there's a lot of researchers out there. There's a lot of great researchers in New Mexico. Another person that I think is a great researcher is Norio Hayakawa. Nori has done a lot of research, especially in the Dulce area, and I've done quite a few videos mentioning Norio. Um, so there's a lot of places in New Mexico that have this legend or urban legend or myths or reality of these UFOs that have crashed. And there's many people still out there trying to find them. But like I said, time is running out again, because once all the people are gone, the leads are going to dry up, and that's going to be it. So, anyways, as we all think we have left our courage, but there is more. With courage, there is always more. So it's all about courage. Thanks, Chuck. We'll see you. Bye bye.